Good afternoon, Keith. How are you? So you're ready to go. Now you've got 10 minutes, including question time. Thank you.
Are you ready to go?
Yep. Thank you and good afternoon. Pleased to be able to make my opinions known in person. I'm going to avoid most of the complicated matters regarding the pros and cons. As you know, there are many of them. Instead, I'm going to use my 10 minutes to get to the heart of the matter, which I think for you as a council is the ethics of fluoridation, which I'm going to show is forced medication, just as the previous speaker demonstrated. That's a pretty significant thing to be doing for people, and you need to be very sure of your grounds if you're going to continue it. A little bit of biography about myself. I have a PhD in biochemistry, currently employed by Plant and Food Research at Ruakura, but I should say I'm not representing their official views, if they have any, on fluoridation. I was fortunate in 1988-89 to spend a year on a fellowship studying at the university town of Davis in California, town of about 40,000 or maybe 60 by now, mostly university people, proudly non-fluoridated in the midst of fluoridated California. And it was there that I came across the what were quite startling arguments against fluoridation to me as a local Hamilton boy, been part of my life. And those arguments are another story, but that's where my interest was pricked, and since then I've been keeping a watch on it. But as I said, I won't be going into the technicalities, but rather focusing on the fact that fluoride is the only medicine added to public drinking water, and we'll question whether that's an ethical thing to do. It's not a nutrient. It's it is, National Academy of Sciences has come out and said it has no useful purpose or essential. It's not an essential factor for human growth and development. It's the only chemical that's added to water that doesn't actually treat the water, unlike hypochlorite or chlorine or alum, which improve the water quality. Fluoride does not. In fact, it's added to prevent a disease, tooth decay or caries, which is not caused by the drinking water. And logically, the FDA has defined fluoride as a medicine when used to prevent disease, which is the case in fluoridation. If it's a medicine, then surely you should control the dose, but no, that's not happening. We need to remember that fluoride is more toxic than lead, hence the warnings not to swallow toothpaste. There's a narrow margin between the toxic and the therapeutic dose. In 2006, the National Review Committee of the National Academy of Sciences was set up basically to review the then considered safe upper limit of 4 milligrams per litre or 4 parts per million. And they came out saying that it's toxic, essentially, and that you would expect through constant exposure to that to suffer from several bone problems. Your bones become more brittle, you are liable to become arthritic, and the other terminology escapes me at the moment, but they then, you would expect, should have found a new safe limit, but that was beyond their brief, and they didn't. We can conclude that it's going to be somewhat less than 4 times the level in our fluoridated drinking water at the moment. So it's a very narrow margin of safety. And on top of that, we have an uncontrolled dose. People drinking large or unusually large amounts of water, such as diabetics, kidney disease sufferers, manual labourers, athletes, are more vulnerable to the toxic effects. Interestingly, doctors used to prescribe fluoride at 2 to 5 milligrams per day to control overactive thyroid or hypothyroidism. That we can receive by drinking just 2 to 5 litres of fluoridated water. And it may be no coincidence that obesity is linked to hypothyroidism, that is, an underactive thyroid. Babies are especially vulnerable to fluoride. The US Institute of Medicine now recommends 0.01 milligrams of fluoride per day for babies. If they were to drink a litre per day of formula that's made up with fluoridated tap water, they will receive in that 1 milligram, that is 100 times more than the recommended amount per day for a baby. What might that do? Major risks clearly agreed upon is dental fluorosis in the teeth that form subsequently, this mottling shown in the left bottom corner, and neurotoxicity, more recently becoming recognised as a real concern. A recent Harvard University review looked at 12 Chinese studies that were suggesting links between fluoride content in the water and lowered IQ, and ended up concluding that there was reason for concern that the developing brain may be another target for fluoride toxicity. And even the American Dental Association, long advocates, staunchest advocates of fluoridation, now advises that infant formula should be reconstituted using unfluoridated water, which is all very well if you can get it. The forced medication through fluoridation violates the principle of informed consent. This is one of the main reasons that most European nations have rejected fluoridation. For example, the German Federal Ministry of Health say they don't support fluoridation due to the problematic nature of compulsion medication. And we've heard, of course, from Arvid Carlsson, from earlier speakers, who's Swedish, saying that it's obsolete, it goes against all principles of pharmacology. With other medicines, the patient or his caregiver, by informed advice from his doctor, has the right to decide what medical treatments to use. Fluoridation is denying people this right. Thank you for your attention. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Keith, for that. So, have we got any questions, councillors, for Keith? No, but we will be getting the PowerPoint. Yeah. Thank you very much for your presentation.
You're
really
welcome.
helpful. Michelle Rhodes is next. Hello, Michelle. How are you?
Presentation, we do. Just a little presentation first.
And you got a video?
Yeah, a video. Paediatrician speaks out. Dr. Yolanda White.
When would you like that to play?
We'll do it right now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Dr. Yolanda White. I'm a primary care pediatrician who no longer supports water fluoridation. Pediatricians like myself are taught to pay very close attention to the proper weight-based dosage for each drug, and to make sure that our patients do not receive more of a drug than is necessary or safe. But unfortunately, when it comes to fluoride, this basic precaution is not being followed. In fact, the dose of fluoride that's supposedly effective in preventing dental cavities is very close to the dose that, according to the Environmental Protection Agency, can cause harm for some children. So it has a very narrow therapeutic window. Since children now receive fluoride from so many different sources, it's virtually impossible for a doctor to determine exactly how much fluoride each child is actually getting. And if you can't determine the amount of fluoride, then you can't determine the dose. And if you can't determine the dose of fluoride, then you can't determine safety. As a pediatrician, I am deeply concerned that fluoride is not good for babies and that they are at risk for harmful side effects. The most clearly visible side effect is dental fluorosis, a permanent staining of the teeth caused by fluoride's interference with normal tooth development. There's a significant number of children in the United States who now have some form of dental fluorosis. According to the Centers for Disease Control, dental fluorosis affects 41% of teenagers. That's millions of children who now have a visible form of chronic fluoride toxicity. As a pediatrician, I'm concerned that fluoride could also affect tissues and organs that are not visible, like the bones, the thyroid, and the brain. My concern is based in part on a large body of research finding that modestly elevated levels of fluoride can reduce a child's intelligence, especially if there's a deficient intake of iodine. Children are disproportionately affected by fluoride for several key reasons. They receive a greater fluoride dose per body weight when compared to adults. They have far more fluoride incorporated into their skeleton than adults. They have a lower kidney excretion of fluoride into their urine, meaning more fluoride gets reabsorbed back into their bloodstream where it can bioaccumulate. And their developing brains are more susceptible to fluoride's toxicity. This can affect their educational achievement. And these unique characteristics of children can no longer be ignored. I'm also concerned by research findings showing that dental fluorosis is higher in the Black community, even the more severe forms, where the teeth can start to erode and develop black and brown stains. This health disparity and environmental injustice will need to be addressed. Even though federal agencies recommended lowering fluoride concentration in water down to 0.7 parts per million, that reduction is slow to implement in each jurisdiction, and frankly, it's not enough. Over-the-counter water filters can't remove the fluoride. So my heart goes out to pregnant women, seniors, those with kidney, thyroid, and other health conditions who can't afford a water purification process to remove the fluoride. They shouldn't even be put in this position. Because water is for everyone, but fluoride is not. Therefore, it's my professional recommendation that we discontinue water fluoridation in the United States. I know I don't want to drink fluoridated water, and I commend residents of Portland, Oregon for fighting hard for the right to keep fluoride out of their water, and also states like New Hampshire and cities like Milwaukee for including infant advisories on their water bills. This past May, New York City held their first children's anti-fluoride rally. Sooner or later, you too will have to make some very important decisions about fluoride. And so it's better to be safe and responsible now so we won't have to pay for it later. It's all about prevention. Thank you.
Right, good afternoon, Mayor and Councillors. Thank you for hearing me. I'm actively involved in many community organisations. 3 of these are Vice President of Hamilton Citizens and Ratepayers Association, Vice Chair of Patients' Rights Advocacy Waikato Incorporated, and a member of Fluoride Action Network of New Zealand. I have a piece here from Rens de Jong, who is our patron from Patients' Rights. He's a Dutch immigrant who arrived in New Zealand in 1957. And together with him and late Ada Reynolds, many of the Waikato Times readers will remember this lady. He read many publications on and for or against fluoridation of the water supply and came to the following conclusion. He's 80 years old, has most of his teeth, and so has his brothers and sisters. Zeeland, a province of the Netherlands where he spent his childhood, did not add fluoride to its water supply. They were told by their parents to avoid acidic, sugary, fizzy drinks and ate few sweets. They brush their teeth with fluoride toothpaste. He says there's no proof that adding fluoride to drinking water will stop tooth decay. There is enough proof that acidic fizzy drinks and lots of sugar in your diet will increase tooth decay in children and adults. After adding fluoride to the Hamilton water supply for many years, there must become a time that tooth decay is eliminated in our children, but it is not. It is on the increase according to dentist reports. Why not let individuals in Hamilton decide to brush their teeth twice a day and avoid sugar and soft drinks? It is a matter of freedom and choice. We should not be told by the government and local government what to add to our drinking water. And to go on, fluoridation is a violation of human rights. I do not want fluoride in the drinking water and do not want council rates spent on this outdated practice, and are not happy to have the health of the public and my family put at risk by this practice. I ask council to discontinue fluoridation. At a recent Hamilton and Citizens Ratepayers Association meeting, a show of hands indicated the majority wanted fluoridation discontinued. I have attended and made many submissions in regards to fluoridation of various councils. Ruapehu District Council made the decision to discontinue the fluoridation of their drinking water, having had this practice for more than 50 years. Taumaranui was the only town fluoridated in the whole Ruapehu District. Jenny Kidd, a town councillor, naturopath and widow of David Kim, whom was the chair of the Waikato DHB, forfeited her vote on council to present her submission with Pat McNair and myself. Unfortunately, she cannot be here to participate. I have her contact should you wish to speak to her about her experience. I have great respect for her and Ruapehu District Council for their wisdom and integrity. Similarly, I am grateful that New Plymouth and Waipukurau have followed suit and also discontinued the practice. There are only 23 out of 67 councils in New Zealand that fluoridate their drinking water. Lower socio-economic folk have no way of protecting their families from toxic fluoride, and boiling water only increases its toxicity. Fluoridation of a drinking water supply is mass medication without the ability of controlling the dose and without informed consent. Many are compromised, such as those with grave health issues, such as kidney patients, where they must absolutely not have any fluoride, or cancer patients and so on. My two sons, aged 16 and 21, exhibit fluorosis of the teeth, having lived all their lives in Hamilton, and it is said that the teeth are the windows to your bones, so you can assume they will have bone problems now and into their future health. We should not rely on our Ministry of Health or their district health boards to dictate to us to have fluoride in our drinking water, as they are relying on outdated information. On the 23rd of November 2011, I was present at the DHB's Public and Health Disability Support Advisory Committee, where fluoridation was to be discussed. Dr. Dumble and Dr. Rob Aitken presented unreferenced graphs in the usual spin. There's no one invited to oppose their views. An elected board member and osteopath, Andrew Buckley, challenged some points where Chair Sally Christie promptly curtailed his questions to Dumble and Aitken and said their committee was there to endorse the Ministry's policy and not debate it. This meeting was undemocratic and the public betrayed. So much for DHB presentation yesterday, saying that they work with the community. My questions are, with the overwhelming evidence of fluoride's toxic effects on the human population, why is the Ministry not reviewing the issue and having the discussion with the public it is meant to serve? What is the real cost of fluoride's damaging effects to our bodies? Lastly, who measures the fluoride levels in one's bodies before it is added to the water, as it is obvious to me that my children have been overdosed? It has become clear that our Ministry has not researched the effects to the population in this country. It was blindingly obvious to me at the Thames Coromandel District Council's fluoride hearing in April, where Drs Dumble and Aitken presented data of Australian studies, that our health authorities demonstrate that they have no intention of doing any studies in the New Zealand population. Another worrying aspect is that there was a list made up of organisations who the DHB support fluoridation. I wonder if these people have researched the subject thoroughly to make this decision. Included in this list is the Royal New Zealand Plunket Society, who failed to advise parents of bottle-fed babies not to use fluoridated water as they are overdosed. Could it be that Colgate sponsors the organisation where they produce fluoridated toothpaste and Plunket are paralysed from taking any action?
Thank you very much for that and for the video. Very good. Right. Thanks, Michelle. Now, we now have Dorothy Miller, who is going to make a short statement. Dorothy, you don't have to go to the mic if it's easier for you. It's up to you. Jacob will call time when the minute's up.
I'm very pleased, Mayor and the councillors, that I have this opportunity to speak to you, because I haven't got any degrees, but I have reared 4 children, and I'm a survivor of marital and familial misogyny, as well as iatrogeny. That's a mouthful, isn't it? It just means in my body I bear the evidence of the damage done to me over many, many years. And it took PRAW, Patients' Rights Advocacy, to pull me out of the mud and help me to recover from the damage that was done. And in the process of researching my osteoporosis, I mean, I only have, there's 269 bones, I believe. Well, I've managed to dent, bend, break at least 17 of them. But if you listen hard enough, you're ready for the next one. I'm doing this quite well. I'm quite positive I'm going to have some more broken bones before I'm finished. So I looked up some information in a very interesting book by Phyllis Bolch. Oh, that was very clever, wasn't it? I'm just ready to the punchline.
So that's
Bye.
yours, Dorothy. Thank you. Covered an awful lot in that minute, so thank you very much for that. Right, the next speaker is Lauren Scott. Hi, Lauren, how are you? Okay, so you've been allocated 10 minutes, including question time.
All good. It was actually quite fortuitous that I've just had the speaker ahead of me, because I do make reference to osteoporosis just briefly. Greeting Mayor and councillors. Thank you for allowing me to taking the time to listen today. I'm a mother of 2 children and a naturopath and medical herbalist. I do practice part-time while also working for the Waikato Play Centre Association, so well involved with young children and the evident, what would you say, demise of dental formation in today's society. I feel fortunate to have what shouldn't be the luxury of using and drinking our lovely own fresh tasting rainwater. I'm here on behalf of some of the play centres that have sent me along to represent them and support them in their act for anti-fluoridation. I haven't spent hours trawling the internet looking for information on what you've possibly already heard or reasons why the city shouldn't fluoridate the water supply, but know enough to realise that this unimportant mineral is not necessary to human life. Even more so in this toxic and unabsorbable form. It's even worse. I believe it is small-minded to believe that by contaminating Hamilton's drinking water even further with this useless chemical form, waste product, will have any benefit for dental health. Hey, what's a few crumbly teeth? Realistically, in health compared to modern day major health concerns of society. With the advent of fluoridation, so has osteoporosis increased in the last 80 years, and numerous other conditions, cancers included, resulting from exposure to such toxic products and chemicals in our life as a whole. Surely one only needs to look back into history to relate the increased rate of dental caries to dietary changes and soil depletion of the necessary minerals that we have or face surrounding us at the moment. Hence the studies I mentioned Weston A. Price, who was a dentist in the early 1900s, that upped with his wife and travelled the world studying the indigenous species of many countries, and his model of thought is just pure proof that it's purely dietary changes that have led to dental decay and our teeth just not as strong as what they should be. It's purely dietary, what we're eating. It can be said to say almost perhaps 90% of the population may be magnesium deficient, demonstrated by the growing rate of neurological conditions. Magnesium is available from fresh leafy green vegetables, of which not many of us eat enough of. Not only is it the #1 nutrient for the nervous system, it is also vital in assisting the body to absorb calcium, a necessary known mineral in bone and dental formation. We only need to look around at many European towns and countries who have the knowledge and insight not to fluoridate their water supplies and see the bigger picture, and just hope that hindsight is often too late. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Lauren, yes, Margaret?
Thanks, Lauren. You said you were here representing play centres?
No, I was asked to sign the submission on behalf of a play centre member as a naturopath. I'm sort of here because they originally gave me the original
Submission?
submission I was signing, yeah.
So it's a number of play centre mothers from one play centre, or
Well, it was more Patterson Street, which is over the west of Hamilton. There's a group of them there that are quite strongly against,
okay,
small children.
thank you.
I just have a question. Do you have any, in your play centre, do you do anything like teeth cleaning and that sort of thing with the children?
We do have, it's more a part of play. We encourage toothbrush and water play. Young babies, it's quite difficult, but if they can become familiar with handling toothbrushes and sort of more role modelling and demonstrating, we do talk about and promote the use of toothpaste, small amounts of fluoride applied liberally, externally, but yeah.
Okay, thank you. Right, thanks very much, Lauren. Very good. Right, the next speaker is Michael Ross Kinney. Michael? Where are you? Oh right, we had a housekeeping rule, no phones. All right, so you're up next.
Yeah, hi everybody, thanks for organising all this. I'm going to talk about some of the experiences I've had in the last 6 to 7 years when I discovered what sodium fluoride is and decided to do all I can to avoid it. And I've broken countless bones, all that. I haven't broken one since, but I don't think that has much to do with it. But basically I've stopped using fluoride toothpaste, stopped drinking fluorinated water, I haven't had a single cavity or filling since. I've only ever had one filling in my whole life, and I grew up on farms without fluoride, and I've got good teeth. The dentist always compliments me on that. And what I do is I've got a product called a steam distiller, and what that does is it boils water and captures the steam, and that water has 0 impurities, so it's 100% pure H2O, or hydrogen monoxide, so it's the most cleanest, most pure water you can get. So at the end of that cycle, so one wash does 4 litres of water, and when that's finished, what is left in the bottom of my steam distiller is not very nice, as you would believe. So what I've done is I've collected up from 80 litres of water all of the leftover material for you guys to view, so you actually know what it is we want to take out of the water. So I'd like everybody in the room to have a look, if that's okay.
Yep, so it's like we pass it around after we've looked at it, do we? Okay. Looks good. We'll just have a look at it. Very good. Okay.
The other item I've bought is the safety data sheet from the bags of the fluoride that they put in the water. I find it quite interesting. So basically the first sentence, hazardous identification, danger, may be fatal if swallowed or inhaled. Interesting, right? Now what else? Affects respiratory system, heart, skeleton, circulatory system, central nervous system and kidneys, causes irritation to skin, eyes, respiratory tract, and effects may be delayed. So that means it builds up over time, and as you could imagine, after, I don't know, 80 years of it, could be built up quite badly. Now, let's go down to the next section. Potential health effects. If inhaled or swallowed, this compound can cause fluoride poisoning. Sounds awesome. Early symptoms include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, weakness. Later effects include central nervous system effects, cardiovascular effects, and death. Wow. Sounds good for your teeth, right? Now, what's next on the list? And how about if we go skip down to ingestion, because that's what we're talking about today. We have it in our water and we're ingesting it. What does it say about ingesting it? Toxic. May cause nausea, vomiting. Oh, it's the same as last time, but yes, you get the idea. So let's go to the important part of this section. how much is bad? Death may occur from respiratory paralysis. Estimated lethal dose equals 5 to 10 grams. So that's less than a teaspoon of pure fluoride will kill you. So imagine how much will kill a little baby. Not a lot. Have a look how much is in that jar out of 80 litres. I drink 80 litres of water in 20 days. So yeah, you could imagine how quick that's going to build up in your system. So everything else in here is just mostly what to do if you come in contact with it, which is contact the poisons administration and undergo immediate treatment. And so that's basically all I have to say, because I've already figured all the facts and hundreds upon hundreds of studies about it would have already been well covered by other people. So I just thought I'd bring along stuff that I can relate to, and hope you guys have enjoyed it. And if anyone has any questions.
Okay, are there any questions for Michael? There are no questions, Michael, but thank you very much for explaining to us what you do and bringing along the sample. It's been really helpful.
No worries.
Thanks very much. Okay, next person is Kane. Kane, Miss Kane. Kane Titchener. Okay.
Crack on. Yep. Okay, so my submission is to end fluoridation. Totally disagree with it, and I would like it stopped. Fluoridation is not ethical. It's a poor medical practice. The benefit is very weak, the evidence of it, and there's very real potential for harm. There are better alternatives available, and this topic is now mainstream. You've probably seen these before, but no government has the right to force medication on its people. It deprives individuals of their informed consent to medicate, and it is extremely difficult to avoid. Fluoridation delivers a medicine. You can't control who gets the medicine, from babies to older people to anybody. You cannot exclude anyone from fluoridation. You cannot control the dose. Hydrofluorosilicic acid is from the fertiliser and aluminium industries. It's a hazardous waste that cannot be dumped into the sea, and it also includes trace elements of heavy metals. I'm sure you've heard this before, but babies are receiving 200 times the natural level of fluoride above what is in a lady's breast milk. The evidence of benefit is very weak, whether it's fluoridated or non-fluoridated parts of the world. There is no impact on tooth cavities being resolved. As you can see here, I'm sure you've seen this WHO data before. There's absolutely no difference. There have been studies in New Zealand. Dr. John Colquhoun, I assume you've read his article, essay about how he changed his mind on fluoridation. He was the main proponent of fluoridation way back when it all started. And we've had the recent information from the Bay of Plenty, which is in the Waikato DHB area. Dr. Robin Wyman, which I'm sure you've heard of, came out with a very important piece of information in 2011. It is generally accepted that the principal benefit of fluoride is topical. That means brushing your teeth. That does not mean swallowing fluoridated water. I'm only going to cover one part of the harmful effects that fluoridation can cause, and that's the Harvard studies that Choi et al. Produced. They completed a meta-analysis of 27 studies, and it's been published in the Environmental Health Perspectives. 26 of the 27 studies found a lower average IQ in the high versus low fluoride villages. And there's been criticism. What the proponents do is they try and whitewash these reports, and one is in the Wichita paper, but Philip Grungine says the senior scientist on Harvard team has criticised the Wichita paper for deceptively attributing its own conclusions on fluoridation to the Harvard scientists. Fluoridation's potential to produce chemical brain drain, is an issue that definitely deserves concern. Okay. Another quote from the press release: fluoride seems to fit in with lead, mercury and other poisons that cause chemical brain drain. The effect of each toxicant may seem small, but the combined damage on a population scale can be serious, especially because the brain power of the next generation is crucial to all of us. So in Hamilton, you've got 29,000 children that you are forcing fluoridation upon. I believe there are better alternatives. Does fluoridation create a false sense of security? Do people think that if they are fluoridated, they don't need to brush their teeth? Robin Wyman's told us that it's the principal benefit of fluoride is to brush your teeth. Education on diet and regular brushing. Obviously, diet makes a big impact. Alternatives. If after understanding the research from Harvard, you would like to go and drink fluoridated water, right? You can go and buy fluoridated water, or you can give fluoride in your salt. I personally wouldn't touch it. Fluoridation is becoming mainstream. I'm a chartered accountant. I don't think I'm a fringe idiot or a nutter, right? This is honestly going to become a mainstream topic very soon if it hasn't already become so. Councils around New Zealand are ceasing, and I would not want to be the last council that ends fluoridation in their part of the world, right? Also, just recently, Portland, Oregon just voted a week ago, I think it was, to end fluoridation. That was a referendum, sorry, so the people are there, and the proponents spent twice as much money as the anti-fluoridation movement. That means the grassroots is really expanding. I'm involved in Auckland, trying to get fluoride out of Auckland, and we've literally just started, and I have been amazed how quickly people are beginning to become aware of this issue. We've got meetings in July that we are setting up, and this is going to become a very big topic in Auckland very soon. Just one final example, you've probably already seen this, 98% of Europe does not fluoridate. Arvid Carlson in Sweden, when they were trying to discuss the fluoride issue up there, was dead against it. He was the main activist in that area, stopping fluoride in Sweden. Thank you very much for your time.
Are there any questions here for Kane? No? Okay, Kane, thank you very much for that. Now, I just want to let the submitters who are remaining for today know that we are going to be without a quorum at 4:30, and that will mean that we can't continue on past 4:30. So I have some questions to ask because I'm looking on my list here, and most of you are here, and the ones that are here, we will not be able to do all of you today. So the first question I'm going to ask is, who has travelled from outside Hamilton? Okay, well, you're going to be next. And what is your name? Julia. Okay, and you are making a 1-minute statement. Yeah. And then I am going to take the 1-minute statement, people. And then I'm sorry, but the other people will then need to come back tomorrow. Now, I apologise for that, but what's happened is, unbeknownst to us, just basically within the last half hour, one of the councillors has signalled that she has to leave at 4:30, and that was not foreseen. So it was certainly something that we didn't plan. It's just one of those things that's just happened. So would you like to come forward and do your thanks?
Yes, so my name is Julia Dirks. I live just north of Hamilton, but come into Hamilton on a regular basis for friends, family, and in the homeschool community. I'm dead against fluoridation because it is a toxic chemical, as other people are told, and they couldn't dump it anywhere else. They would have to pay huge fines, and so they dump it in our drinking water, so it gets filtered through that. And I'm just dead against it, that we don't have a choice of when you buy a coffee in Hamilton that it's made with fluoridated water. You can't specify that you don't eat and drink fluoride. And so I just, it's just wrong that you don't have the choice. So that's all I wanted to say.
Very good. Thank you very much. Then after that I've got Alan McRae, or are you known as Tom? Hi, Tom.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Yes, they may be able to, yeah. So I think you're going to make a 1-minute statement to us as well, Tom. Thank you.
The DHB says fluoride is safe and effective. When I hear this, my bullshit meter goes off the scale. Fluoride is a toxic, hazardous waste product of the fertiliser industry, which is illegal to be dumped on soil and in waterways. Packaged up, it magically becomes a fluoridation agent. All this in a country with skyrocketing cancer rates and sickness. We have reached a tipping point where the evidence against fluoridation is huge and cannot be ignored. It's time to get this poison out of our drinking water. I'm here because I care about my family and Hamiltonians. The health officials are here to implement archaic policy, guard their jobs and their salaries. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
And there's Dr. Paul Connett's book here. It has 97 pages of references against it. It's a no-brainer, really.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you, guys.
Next I have Lindley. And we might get to the other people, so just wait. Hopefully we might be able to finish everyone today. Right, Lindley, you're on.
Hi, I've lived in Hamilton all my life, and I'd like to see the cessation of fluoride in our city water supply. The research supporting fluoride is generally outdated, with more recent research papers and studies opposing its use. Don't have any background in science and medicine, but health is my passion, and I researched many subjects, fluoride being an issue, which I've read numerous articles and studies about over the years, and have come to a conclusion that it's definitely unnecessary and potentially harmful to add to our water. Being a mum, the fluoridation of our water concerns me, particularly for our children. In a recent study in the Journal of the American Dental Association, it has confirmed fluoride is a toxic substance that actually destroys our teeth, particularly those of developing young children and babies. I'm lucky because I successfully breastfeed my son, but for mothers who can't breastfeed for any reason or have chosen to formula feed, the levels of fluoride they may be getting in their bottles is obviously 100, 200 times more than breast or cow's milk. I believe that it's sorry.
But that's okay, because we've got it all written out there, so thank you for coming along. Now we've got Alexia Hanlon. They told me that you can speak 90 words in a minute. That's what the radio people tell you when you're going to speak on the radio. I think that's about right. I'm getting the nods. 90 words. There we go. Right, off you go.
Hi, I'm Alexia Hannon. I'm a mother, and I just feel very strongly about this whole issue. I strongly object to the Hamilton City Council mass medicating our water supply with a hazardous waste byproduct from the superphosphate fertiliser industry, which the Waikato DHB believes will protect our teeth, making them stronger to reduce tooth decay. 2 New Zealand studies conducted after 2000 found no difference in decay rates between fluoridated or non-fluoridated communities. Instead, they showed an increase in dental fluorosis in the fluoridated communities. which is a defected tooth enamel caused by poisoning of the body cells that make the enamel. This appears as discoloration of the teeth. I have 2 children that actually have this because I ended up having to bottle feed them, not of choice, but that was the way it was, so they've ingested stronger, concentrated amounts of fluoride. Fluoridation is a violation of human rights. You do not have the authority or mandate to continue this outdated practice. It's yet another waste of ratepayers' money by this council they can ill afford to pay for. Please stop it immediately.
Thank you very much, Alexia. Well done. Now I've got Colin next. Colin Henley. Hello, Colin.
As obviously my wife before me, I have had 45 fillings in my teeth. I grew up in Wanganui with fluoridated water. My wife was raised on a farm in Winton with no fluoride. She had 4 fillings. So obviously that speaks for itself. We have a water filter installed in our house to remove fluoride and chloride. Every year we have to pay $160. Why should we have to pay that when we do not want fluoride in our water? Obviously the council has not the statutory power to fluoridate the water, and it is unlawful. According to the Section 11 of the New Zealand Bill of Rights, the right to refuse to consent to medical treatment, fluoride in water by mass medication to humans, and the passing of the water into our waterways is not good at all. Please stop wasting our rates on this poison that is illegally taken into our bodies. If people want to fluoridate themselves, surely they can use it by fluoridated toothpaste and fluoride tablets. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you very much. Next we've got Sue McGovern. Hi Sue.
Hello.
Right, your minute starts now.
I have a fluoride filter also. Fluoride is an industrial pollution problem. It contaminates the atmosphere, poisons livestock, damages plant life. But our powers that be allow it to be added to our drinking water. Isn't that crazy? I don't believe fluoride helps teeth if taken internally. I have 2 children, 31 and 28. We lived rural. Neither of them have fillings in their mouths at all. I believe our tooth decay problem is not being helped by fluoridated water. Tooth decay is caused by bad diet, too much sugar, and not enough fruit and vegetables. Fluoride is not only in our drinking water, but also in pesticides, post-harvest fumigants, air, food, salt, medications, toothpaste, dental restorations, and health supplements. Please don't continue to deny reality. Fluoride is poisoning us.
Right, thank you very much. Greg Oostenbarn is next. Hi, Greg.
The evidence before you today has been reviewed by our peers in the OECD, and by far the majority, on the basis of that evidence, have decided that fluoridation of their water supplies is ill-advised. New Zealand shouldn't be the last cab off the rank in getting this stuff out of our water supply, based on the same evidence. Furthermore, it's a violation of our basic human rights and freedom of choice that we don't have the opportunity to avoid taking the substance in when we've reviewed the evidence. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. I don't need my whole minute. Thanks.
All right, no, good, well done. Okay, now I've got on my screen here 2 submitters who have been allocated 10 minutes, Damien and Ted. Now what I'm going to ask you guys, I'll give you the opportunity, we've got probably room for 3 minutes each. If you wanted to make your key points within that time, then you're more than welcome to do it. We have got your written submissions, so if you wanted to highlight a couple of points, take the opportunity. Otherwise, you can come back tomorrow and take your full 10 minutes. It's your call. You'll come back tomorrow? Would you like to go now? Come forward then. So have I got Damien here? Yeah, that's you, Damon, is it? Sorry. Okay, so we'll give you 3 minutes, all right? Can you make your key points on that? Go for it.
Kia ora tātou. Just like to acknowledge everyone who stood up before me. You said a lot of the stuff that I was going to say, so I'm just going to jump up and support everyone else that has stood up before me. Thank you for having me and allowing me to come up and speak. I'm standing up here as a male Māori, as a father, as a teacher at the local primary school. I was on that list of primary schools that was put up on the PowerPoint, and I get to see all the children every day drinking the water, and it makes me cringe because I know what this stuff is doing to the children. At school, we talk about creating critical thinkers. So teaching our kids to sift through the information so we can get to the core, the truth of that sea of information that is out there. So I've just done a little bit of digging and I've found a whole ocean of information that is out there that goes against what is being put into our face in the media and in the newspapers and from the DHB and everything. It goes against it. So what I want to say is that there's enough information here to warrant doubt and to warrant you questioning the validity of fluoridating our water. Now I also have a filter at home. It costs us just over $1,000 and around about $200 a year to keep it maintained so we can get the fluoride out of our water. That only gets the fluoride out of the water that we are drinking. And we have to shower every day. My baby has to shower and bath every day. It's getting into our skin, so even though it's out of our drinking water and our cooking water, we still can't escape it because it's getting into us through everything else, through our washing, when we're washing our clothes, we're in the shower and everything. I've also got the safety data sheet. I'd just like to bring up something else that wasn't mentioned when the other guy spoke. The recommended use. Apart from all the warnings and all the dangers that come with this substance, recommended use is water fluoridation. Right next to it, it says sterilising equipment. Now, if we're going to use critical thought, we need to take this information and match it up against the information that's saying this stuff is good for us. Something doesn't match up here, and this was hidden. You have to go looking for this. The other information that's been put in front of us that's easily accessible is the stuff that's saying it's good for you. You have to go digging to find this stuff. A lot of people don't go digging, apart from this staunch crowd that's over here who's down here to support this stuff. So that's all I have to say.
Well done.
Thank you.
Good on you, mate. One question. Councillor Forsyth has a question for you. One question.
Thank you very much. Listen, I'm really interested to hear your point of view about how you think that not fluoridating our water would discriminate against Māori and Pacific Island groups. I'd like to hear that from you.
Okay. Let me talk about my daughter. Her middle name is Waitapu, which means sacred water. And that comes down 13 generations ago to one of our ancestors. So water is very sacred to us. Putting poison into the water, or this substance in here that's meant to be good for our teeth, goes against that. So it changes from Wai Māori, it's called Wai Māori, which is natural water and clean water. So water is a huge thing for us as a Māori, speaking as a Māori. So Waitapu, sacred water, that's my daughter's name, and that's what I want. I want sacred water going into her body and on her skin.
I'll leave it there. Thank you. Kia ora.
Good on you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, apologies, Ted, but you're back in your first tomorrow morning, okay? We're back here at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Are we 9 o'clock tomorrow morning? Oh, look, sorry, very sorry about this, but these seconds. Oh, right. We've got some gaps in our schedule tomorrow, so they're going to work with you to find a time that suits you for tomorrow. Okay? Great. Thank you, everyone, for coming along today, and now we're adjourned until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.